as far as graffiti writers go, there is a critiquing system as far as looking at the artwork and breaking it down and being like, oh, I think your connection here was off. You made the bottom of the E too heavy. It's not balanced. So there is definitely a critiquing process that goes into it. And the people that know how to balance the letters right. There's a formula for making a letter. And E's like, you got a straight back and 1, 2, 3. You have 1 vertical and 3 horizontals. That's what makes up a capital E. And off those connections is where you bend the letters, break them, throw your pumps, your arrows, your kicks. We definitely do sit around and go through photos and talk about our work and critique it. And as I was saying before, there is very good graffiti and bad graffiti, just as the way someone playing an instrument either knows what they're doing or will hit that squeaky note and you're like, and it's the same visually. I see some beautiful things and I see other things that are squeaky note and I'm going, So,
how do you know when somebody's being innovative?
you just, it's kind of hard to explain. You just know, How do you know Jordan was going to be the star basketball player he was? He was just a natural at what he did, and he found a medium that just...
No, but what I'm hearing is the formula, and then I'm questioning how you know when someone's breaking the formula and going into an innovative...
It's a constant process of evolution with it. With anything, it becomes more complex and more, evolving. The graffiti that was done in 1970 was extremely simple compared to what goes on today. Just as the cars in the 70s were less technically advanced, than the cars today. Everything in the world is on a constant process of evolution and evolving and becoming more complicated. And it's the same with this art form. Once you understand it, you can look and go, wow, I didn't think of doing that. That's brilliant right there. That's genius. I would have never thought of putting those colors together or bending an E or an F that way. It's like, wow, it's, just the way Jordan would come out and dunk, it's like, wow. Like I was saying before, graffiti is very specific and has specific rules, and it's very hard for the untrained eye to tell the difference between good graffiti and bad graffiti and what makes it up. Once you have some history, once you understand the history of it and the evolution of the artists and who broke what rules and who developed this, it's all known to graffiti writers. I can sit here and tell you, the first person to do a top to bottom on a subway, the first person to do a white outline, the first person to do a drop shadow, So along the way, people, were advancing, and there's a whole history to it that, like, anybody that does this that's worth their beans will know the history of it, just as, an art historian would be like, Renaissance and then, the Baroque period, whatever. They can break down the different movements and what made those, what classifies, or what elements of that artwork classify it to that movement. It's the same with the graffiti. This guy was doing, Phase 2 was the first guy to come up with the bubble letters, and really develop that. Stay High was one of the first guys to do top to bottoms on the subway train, meaning going from the very bottom of the subway train all the way to the top, covering that space. When graffiti first started, it started as just the signature on the bottom of the subway car, just your alias, your name, like Joe Cool was here. And eventually, as competition became fiercer, and subway cars became more crowded, someone decided, hey, not only am I going to do my little signature, but I'm going to do a line around it so nobody, as kind of like a border. And then from that, someone came up with the idea, okay, well, I'm going to do that border, but then I'm going to fill it in and then do the border around it, and it became bigger and more grandiose that way and evolved that way. But through that, people started studying the letters, like I said, E, capital E, 1 vertical, 3 horizontals, and people started deconstructing the letters and coming up with letter theories. You got Ramble Z with his theory of armored lettering. You had FC TC5 crew doing on the ones, rocking a lot of like long extension pumps. FBA style had a lot of crisscrossing bars that were straight letters that define their style. There is a whole history to this, with evolution, with different groups doing different things with different style schools.